Hello, I'm Charles Dennis, and the topic of this podcast is digital signage for shopping malls and retail stores. Digital signage, that's screens in public places showing video. You've probably seen these in shopping malls and also in public squares. Sometimes they're very large, but most of my work has been on smaller ones, like about 1 to 2 meters in size. There's always been screens that were used for entertaining people in post office queues a long time ago. But the big improvement is the technology that's allowed central control and often the material transmitted via satellite, and that's made it much more cost effective and easier to manage. The problem was that at the beginning of this millennium there was no research available and nobody knew the extent to which shoppers, consumers would like digital signage or not, and ads transmitted on digital signage would be effective. So I was doing some research work in order to look at that. This is an example of digital signage. This is a very early one, and this was installed 2003 for a special trial and in a shopping mall in the south of England, and shows the typical sort of screens. So mostly they're not huge. This one I think is 1.2 meters. And here's again screens in the same trial. And this one's more recent. This is at a world-leading department store, and in this particular department store had at the time of the trial 100 screens, and just on this one escalator staircase there were 29 screens. You can see the screens there. They're portrait format. They're fairly relatively small. We're not talking about the huge screens most of the time. Why is digital signage important? It's important because people like it for information. In the initial work that we did back in 2003, talking about what time the last bus was, when the farmer's market was. Very basic information like this is welcomed by shoppers. But not only that, it can contribute to the image of a shopping mall or a retail store. It makes it seem more modern, and it can provide a pleasant experience and customer satisfaction as well. And our more recent research has been showing the value of that experience. Also, of course, it provides a revenue stream from the advertising that it carries to the media owner. So, for instance, brands that want to advertise on a shopping centre's screens will have to pay for those adverts. So, what's my expertise? Well, first of all, one of the few people who've got a PhD in shopping, and so that's useful for consumer behaviour research such as this. I've carried out a number of projects on the image and attractiveness of various shopping malls and towns, and got papers published in highly ranked marketing journals on the topics related to retail atmospherics. I'm the leading researcher on digital signage and indeed on shopping malls. I've carried out what's seminal research into the consumer responses to digital signage. So, who has collaborated and funded this work? And a range of, first of all, £43,000 put in by Globecast and French Telecom. They're a network who beam digital signage content onto the screens. Instrumental Media, who put that project together. The Mall Corporation, one of the biggest shopping mall owners in the UK, and they've put in one project, £15,000, and a number of other projects. And ROI Team, who are a retail research company, and they're in contact with the Mall Corporation and a number of other players in the retail industry. And plus, of course, Brunel University, who provided some of the resources as well. And, most recently, a major internationally known department store. Total £90,000 from 2002 to present time funding this work. This is an example of one of the ads in the department store. As you can see, it depicts a seaplane flying and landing in the lagoon with swaying palm trees and golden sand. There's no text on that. Now that's the interesting thing, that's only an advert about experience, and at the end of it then the brand owner, the in-house travel company, displayed their name and logo, but that's just about all there was for information. Now that ad was just as effective as a similar sort of ad that had a lot of text and advertisement on it, and far more effective than an ad that didn't have the video but just had the text. And actually, while we did that trial over a month, the in-house travel agency's sales went up by 10%, so just proving that it works. That's not actually the key finding from this. The key finding here is that the digital signage was effective, that people like it. It makes towns, shopping malls, in this case the department store, seem more attractive. And actually in this particular case, the respondents to the survey who'd seen that video ad said they would spend 40% more in the store and buy 40% more things than the people who hadn't seen the video ad. So it contributes a lot to people's experience, enjoyment, and indeed their spending. So well-designed ads are very effective in promoting products, but they also increase customer spending, and that's in stores, in shopping malls, and in towns. And that research has been accepted by reviewers and editors of major journals such as Journal of Consumer Behaviour and the Journal of Marketing Management, which is actually the leading marketing journal in the UK, one of the two leading ones in Europe. So the impact of this work is, actually most shopping malls now carry digital signage screens, and that's stemmed very largely from that initial work that was done in 2003 and publicised to the industry. Digital signage ads at this particular department store are now more experiential, and actually there's a rub-off from this to all of the other digital signage in which you see shopping malls using more experiential content than they were. This leads to increased shopper spending, and it also leads to increased shopper satisfaction. So the shoppers, consumers, gain from the digital signage. It's not just companies who are gaining. So for the future, I'm hoping to extend the range to different types of location, different types of stores, and to different sizes of screens.